In. Hello guys, welcome to our class. It's Glenn Murdoch here. I am the CEO of the Business Coaching College and the Life Coaching College. Really looking forward to today's class, which is titled Flawsome. And today what we're going to have a look is learning how to embrace imperfection. Fun class. I'm pretty sure that you're going to absolutely love it. And looking forward to bringing that class to you. So the reality of imperfection, here it is. Funnily enough, we live in an imperfect world. It's filled with cracks and dents and unintended consequences. Perfection is an unattainable ideal. In fact, the only thing in the world that is perfect is nature. We're imperfect people, imperfect creatures, and the strive for perfection almost always leads to someone, I personally believe, who has no standards. And I'll explain that to you a little bit later on. Hi, Lindley. I see you've just joined us as well. Dealing with the reality of imperfection is a healthy way to grow and obtain positive change, because you get to build consensus by undertaking that beautiful belief that we are flawed. You become more authentic and likable by admitting the mistakes that you make. You set an example for others who are spending their lives in that futile chase for perfection, which, by the way, goes hand in hand and leads itself so eloquently and beautifully to procrastination. It'll strengthen your relationships with self and others. And finding humor and laughter in the mistakes that you make is part of life. It's so fun to laugh at the messing up. You know, it's interesting. Almost every time I've messed up in my life, and wow, have there been a lot, but the times when I've messed up, when I've tried to be perfect, and when I've struggled to admit that it was me and struggled to admit that, hey, I'm flawed, they've always been the times that have been the most challenging and difficult to deal with. And here's the other thing, they've always been the times when I've got the least amount of, in inverted commas, sympathy from people that were involved somehow in that situation. So for me, I learned a long time ago, dude, relax. Nothing's perfect. In fact, don't be perfect, be prolific. And anyone who's ever trained with me will know that's one of my mantras in life. Don't be perfect, be prolific. Just get it out there. Get some work done, test and measure. So how do we embrace imperfection? By the way, coaches on this call, this is the kind of class that is beautiful for you to run with your posse. This is the kind of class that's just lovely to run as a webinar for life coaching posse. Okay, so if you wanted to run a little taster webinar, if you want to run a little class just to get people to get an idea of who you are and what you're into, this class would be a great class to do that with. Just saying. Real happiness doesn't lie in attaining perfection. In fact, it's the opposite. Happiness lies in accepting who you are and embracing all of your imperfections. Your imperfections are an essential part of you. They make you unique. They make you beautiful. They make you strong. And the more that you can embrace imperfection, the more that you can roll with what you've got instead of looking for that you don't have. In order to begin embracing your imperfections, you need to take a few specific steps, including accept that you're human. And as humans, we make mistakes. Realize that many perceived weaknesses are actually strengths. Learn to laugh at yourself and the mistakes that you've made. And I'm going to tell you now, as someone who's been in the personal development space now for 17 years, all of the things that I used to be terrified about of me are the things I talk about on stage. All of the imperfections that we, and I shouldn't say we, I'm not going to generalize. For me, all of the imperfections I tried to hide, I now embrace. And I throw them out there as vulnerabilities that I'm happy to share with my audiences. And if I could be bold enough to suggest it, I think the audiences love that. I do. I think they love the vulnerability. I think they love the embracing of non-perfection. And in this whole space, I never wanted to be a guru. I never wanted to stand there and have that whole look at me, I'm the master of all things. I can't stand that, dude. I just wanted to stand there and say, this is me. It's as good as I've got today. I'm going to be better tomorrow because I'm striving to be better. It's how I roll my life. But I'm never going to be perfect. And that's okay. Isn't that cool? All right. Let me pause there for 1 second and check in. You guys that are on the call, I want you to give me a little bit of feedback. How are you going with this? What are you finding about perfection and imperfection? Tell me what you think. Now, we're going to talk about wabi-sabi, appreciating beauty in an imperfect world. How we define beauty determines how we view beauty. You guys get that, right? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. In the West, beauty is often defined as an absolute and as an ideal. Very often, beauty is synonymous with perfection. This definition means that true beauty is largely unobtainable. And not only that, that beauty often is so external and it's externalized. The natural world is far from perfect, ladies and gentlemen, and it is completely full of beauty. This means that the Western definition of beauty has to be disconnected from the workings of the day-to-day world. Wouldn't you agree? So either the world isn't really beautiful or our Western definition of beauty has its flaws. Make sense? Wabi-sabi is a Japanese philosophy that resolves the paradox by redefining beauty for us. In wabi-sabi, something is beautiful because of its natural imperfections, not in spite of them. So wabi-sabi teaches us to embrace imperfection as an essential for real beauty. So, self-confidence, empowering that imperfection. Our imperfections are what make us unique. Self-confidence allows us to empower the imperfections with that realization. And remembering this class is all about a little bit of information for you, but also some content for you. This class has a double meaning, a double option. Number one, to teach you a few things you might not have been aware of. Number two, to give you a class that you can teach as a quick soundbite, a quick 20-minute class for your posse. So I hope you're writing lots of notes. But no, you get the recording later anyway, so it's okay. So what are the ways that we can increase our confidence? Do good deeds, do good work, be prepared, be principled, think before you speak. Your posture, stand straight, get super competent at something, spruce yourself up, dress yourself up, maybe alter your self-image, increase your positivity, eliminate the negativity at the same time, improve your self-knowledge, act how you want to feel. I'm going to give you my number one tip for changing self-confidence. And it's a little NLP technique I learned way ago, 1999, and it's the rubber band technique, and I'm sure you've heard of it, but let me remind you. I was paralyzed by self-doubt, negative talk, a really, what I would consider to be a really limiting belief of who I was, what I could do, what was possible for me. And I changed all of it around within about 16 days with the rubber band technique. Now, if you've heard of the rubber band technique, then you'll know that it's very simple. You get one of those big, thick elastic bands, like the ones that you get if you got lots of mail at one time, that lots of mail comes in. You put it around your wrist, and you monitor your self-talk. Now, you guys will be mindful of the fact that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Between 96 and 98% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts you had yesterday, until you decide to change them. Those thoughts will continue to run. So what you do is you monitor your self-talk. So for me, if I said something that was negative, and all of it was pretty much, you get the elastic band and you flick it onto your wrist. And I used to have to use the inside of my wrist, the inside where your veins are, the outside on the top, and both of the sides. Okay, so top, bottom, both sides, because I used to do it so often. But here's the thing. You don't just flick the elastic band. You flick the elastic band, and then you change what it was that you'd said to a positive. So if you had something like, I can't do that, I can never do that. Bang, elastic band. I can do everything that I work hard at wanting to do, and change it around. I don't have any friends. Bang. I'm an incredibly loving person, and I can make friends effortlessly and easily right now. Get the idea? So we're changing our self-talk with the elastic band. I love it as a technique. It's so easy. Teach that to your clients. It's beautiful. If you need a little motivation, really good thing for you to start with as well. Okay, got a couple of other tips for you. I got a little idea about what would be 3 areas that I could bolt on to this to help you with. Okay, and this is what I came up with. I got some tips for helping you make better decisions. I've got some tips to help you with your self-confidence, and I've got some tips to help you with taking action. All right, so a couple of things that you can utilize. By the way, I'm just going to pause the recording for a second. Okay, so let's have a look at some of our tips. Better decisions. Determine the purpose of your decision making. The first step in decision making as a process is to determine why you need to make the decision. If you're buying a new appliance, is it because you want a new and improved appliance, or is it because it's necessary? For example, the old one broke down. The new one could also save you money by being more energy efficient. You know, get the idea. Number 2, consider the pros and cons. Try to think of all the benefits that will happen when you make a decision and weight that against all the negatives. You can get help from friends, family, if you have a really difficult decision to make. Take into account each pro and con, and then come up with a really incredible list, and that's a great way to make big decisions, okay? Get all the facts. If there's information available that is to do with the components involved in your decision, use the information to your advantage. How would that work? Perhaps you can find other people that had a similar decision. Find out what they thought. It's a really good reason why product reviews are so important, by the way, and testimonials, because people are looking for that. Try to project the outcome. Now, this one could be challenging because you won't always know the outcome, but I try and create it. And you guys get that, right? The quantum of that. So if you can find other people with similar experiences, great. If you can't, take an educated guess as to what you might want to happen. Map it out. Mind map it. And take into consideration what it might look like if your dreams come true, if all the things that you want to happen from the decision work. But here's the other thing. I also like to map out what happens if I don't make the decision. So I map out what would happen if I didn't do it, because there are consequences for not doing things as well, not making decisions. Cool? Take some chances, folks. Try just having a crack and backing yourself, okay? People love playing safe, and that is usually what holds them back. Great success stories usually come from people who decide to take a chance, okay? Even if the odds were stacked against you, to take a chance. Back yourself. Rely on colleagues and friends, seek some professional advice. Depending on the decision, these might be important things to do as well, okay, depending on the decision. There are decisions that will require professional advice, okay? For example, recently in our group, there was someone who talked about a relative who had recently passed away, was married really quickly before they passed away, I think 3 or 4 weeks or something, and now that person has been given control of the will. Well, to me, that is straight to the lawyer, okay? Straight to the lawyer. That's a seek professional advice example. Got it? Trust your instincts. Trust your gut. People second guess themselves all the time. They don't like to be wrong about decisions they make, but there's no wrong. Sometimes it's a matter of trusting your own instincts, okay? When you get that feeling deep inside that something is right, go with your gut. Have a crack, okay? When you get that feeling deep in your soul that something is too good to be true, it usually is, okay? Your gut is incredible, so trust it. All right, self-confidence tips. What can we do? Number 1, start with positive affirmations. Staying positive is going to really help you with your self-confidence, okay? Negativity has the power to rob us of self-confidence because we look for excuses why things can't work. Set the stage with positive affirmations. Please do it daily. Exercise more often. Exercise alters your mood in a positive way. It makes your body operate more efficiently. It keeps you from bringing yourself down and from choosing to take yourself down and from the self-confidence busters that might be out there. Regular exercise, you get great benefits from it. You guys know I'm a jock. It's a really important thing to do. I don't know what just happened then. Consider failure your friend. When we set up a plan for our goals, it's much easier to see early on what's working and where we need to take actions. When we accomplish, let me go back. Consider failure your friend. If you haven't failed, you haven't tried. Failure is something that can always be learned. It is the great lesson. Failure can lead to alternatives that you might not have even thought about before you failed. And when you look at failure that way, it reduces the likelihood of you going into procrastination and perfectionism. Create a plan for success. Really important that at each milestone, you've got a checkbox that you need to get through. And you plan and you've got goals, whether it's 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, or 30-day, 90-day, 180 days. But make sure that you plan and you know where you need to be at each particular point, okay? Read profiles of successful people. When you read about successful people, guess what? You learn what it takes to get there. You learn the mindset. You learn the steps. You learn the strategies. I say to everyone, if you can't afford to pay for the best coach in the whole entire world, buy their book. Watch their documentary. You get the lessons anyway, okay? Find a mentor. If you know someone in your life who's influential, take them on as a mentor. It could be formal. It might be informal. It could be observation. Every week, I have people tell me that I'm their mentor. Every week, I have people that ask me to be their mentor. Every other day, someone will tell me they're modeling what I do. Brilliant. That's what I want you to do. Perfect. Find the roadmap to success and follow the map. It works, okay? Please, for the love of all things holy, limit your exposure to negative sources, okay? You can't remove negativity completely from your life, but man, you can reduce it, okay? If you're one of those people that watches and listens to the news, please stop. It's not important. Most of the news stories are negative, okay? They should call it the bad news, not the news. Most of it doesn't matter. Does it really matter to you if someone crashed their car in another state? It's not that important. I still to this day believe that the news is generally there to help people buy more stuff. Let's get people terrified about things, then let them buy stuff from the ads in between. Call me old-fashioned, but I like my day to be full of fun and light and laughter because that's my choice. Turn the news off. It'll definitely help you. Okay. Where were we? Meditating. Try meditating. It is shown to flush your minds of all the crazy thoughts that you might have throughout the day. It clears up your thinking. It helps set the stage for positive outlooks. Just like exercising should be practiced multiple times weekly, so should meditating. Recognize your abilities. You might have been really great at something at one time in your life, but haven't really worked at it for a while. You'll be surprised at how those things that you learned when you were young or when you were a bit younger can be applicable to what you're doing now. You might also need to understand that life is about making the things that you're wonderful at and that you love shine brighter, as opposed from polishing a really dim skill that you don't love nor really have naturally or like. I always talk about the report card syndrome. I don't know about you, but in my house, if I came home with a subject that was, let's say, a C, well, my parents would say, you need to work harder in art because, you only got a C. For me, I don't agree with that philosophy. You look at what you're getting an A in and you make that even bigger and brighter, and you run with your strength and you run with what you love. Who cares if you don't do well in art if you're going to end up being a life coach? Who cares if you don't do well in PE, but you're incredible at drama and you want to have a role on the stage and being in front of people, and that's where you get your energy from. So make the things that you love shine more is what I'm saying. Okay. Taking action tips. Last part of today's whirlwind little seminar for you guys. Success results from achievement, which is what happens when you get things done. Instead of allowing procrastination to hinder your progress, I want you to follow these tips. Set a goal. Decide what you want. Once you know your goal, you can devise a plan and you can go step by step to achieve it. Know the outcome, and the process will allow you to identify where to start and where to go. Otherwise, you're just throwing darts in the dark. Clear your mind. It may sound counterintuitive, but taking time at the beginning of your day to mind dump your thoughts onto paper is really good. Take a piece of paper, a pen, and just spend 10 minutes, write down everything that comes to your mind, okay, your stream of consciousness. That'll clear your mind and leave important tasks. And it'll also help you to be on task. Make a list. I'm a chronic list creator. I think successful people make lists. I think they do it every day. I think they do it every night. It ensures that you know what needs to get done. If you do it at night, you wake up, it's there. You know your roadmap for your day. Take small steps. It's easy to take action when you set yourself a little teeny tiny step on the way to completing big goals, because then you feel a lot less overwhelmed. You guys know I'm a mad cricket junkie, and I say to all of my players, the focus at the start of your innings needs to be on each ball. All of your focus needs to be on each ball. each individual ball that comes your way. And you make a decision with each ball. And when that ball is gone, you concentrate on the next one. And the challenge that a lot of cricketers have is that they concentrate on I want to make 100, I want to make 150, I want to make 60, or whatever it is. But the game of cricket is little teeny tiny steps, one ball at a time. So it's about breaking the game down into those steps. Be accountable. Announce your goal to a friend, to a partner, to a relative, because this accountability is a wonderful driver for you to take action, because there's a greater sense of commitment towards your goal and a much greater sense of commitment to the completion of your goals. You'll also be able to discuss your progress, and that helps to be able to discuss any potential challenge that might be hampering you, okay? The other thing is that when there's some accountability, you're not on your own. You're in it as a team. I also find it hurts a bit more if you decide to not do what you promised you would do or said you would do. And I think that one of the great things we provide as a coach is accountability, right? You can become that accountable person. Remove distractions, turn off your phone, shut down your email, your social media sites. Get yourself into a situation where you can be completely undisturbed, mindful. Lessen the chances of being interrupted, and it will ensure that you get a much greater chance to get into the flow of work and to help you get super productive. Change your mindset. Be positive. Tell yourself that you can, that you will, that you are going to complete the task. Envision yourself as a successful action taker. You could create a mind movie of you taking action. Make it involve all of your senses so that you can feel, hear, and see yourself working towards your goal, achieving your goal, and then experiencing the positive results of having achieved that goal. You guys have done NLP, and if you haven't, you're going to slip into NLP mode and create this goal for yourself. Please stop waiting for the perfect time. It's easy to wait for the perfect time. It's easy to wait for a situation where you think everything's just right. It doesn't happen. Just get started, and the momentum will build from there. Be consistent. Take consistent action every day. You guys have all heard the can-I principle. Constant and never-ending improvement. Each day, little steps, getting better, moving forward. And number 9, remove analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis, I should say. Stop overthinking, okay, gets you nowhere. And it actually stops people taking action. Because what happens when they get paralysis by analysis, they start second-guessing everything. If you know what you need to do, if you know what you're trying to achieve, and you've got the resourcefulness needed to make it happen, then just get started. Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our power-packed half-an-hour session for today. I trust that you loved it. It's a little motivation power pack today. Those guys that are live on the call, the little promise I made you, you know what that is. Give me a little Y for yes in the question box if you're going to take me up on that. Everyone that's listening to the call afterwards, absolutely incredible to be here with you, even if it wasn't live. Hope you loved the class. Look forward to catching up with you later on. Have a brilliant, brilliant week. You guys are awesome. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.